If you're anything like me, you absolutely love the holidays, love spending time with family, but might still notice that this season is a season where you need to fight just a little bit harder to protect your peace and energy, which is completely normal because our family loves us and they want the best for us. However, they also think they know what's best for us and they don't always. That being said though, today we are not just discussing holidays and family. We are in general discussing how to protect your peace and energy, and I just thought this was the right season to do it. My name is Zay Robertson. Let's get learning. First of all, I think everyone knows that I am a huge fan of the features block, unfollow, and mute, and I have managed to translate them into real life. So I'm going to give you a little breakdown on how to do that without hurting anyone's feelings. Starting with the least extreme of the options, the muting option. My version of muting people I've talked about before is when I notice basically at some point in time that a person is, I'm not going to say crazy, but I'm going to say that they say a lot of harmful things, hurtful things, or just like rubbish. You know, like your conspiracy theorists, people who continuously say things about marginalized groups or about you and your weight and your parents, etc. I mute them in real life using like the Charlie Brown method, where when they talk, I am looking at them instead of hearing, oh, they should all just go back to. It's like, that's what I hear. Like they are talking and I'm there, but I'm not there because I'm not going to spend my Sunday or my like 5 minutes out of Christmas Eve listening to some tangent about like Trump or whatever. Instead, I'm just going to hear whilst in my head I'm thinking about Josh Hutcherson, you know, in that scene in the cave in the Hunger Games, which is so much better. My unfollow button is one I also use a lot, and these people are usually on that list as well, where I only see people in certain situations where I feel like I have to. For example, a funeral or a wedding or a very important birthday, and I would never spend one-on-one time with that person. If that person comes to visit for some reason, I just leave. But in certain situations, I will see them. I'm not following them, but they pop up in my feed, in the feed of life, and I'm there and I'm polite. Then the more extreme version is obviously block, and that's just people you don't see. Like you have a hard line, and that can be people who are harmful to be around, who are toxic, who never say anything nice to you, etc. You know? And to tell you the truth, I think a lot of times we're scared to block people in real life because we think we're going to regret it. My experience has actually been opposite. There are people I wish I cut out of my life a long time ago, or that I said something to or whatever that I can't now. If someone only says negative things to you, you don't owe them anything. I talked about this. This is like one of my first videos ever, was like, you don't owe anyone anything, because you really don't. It doesn't matter what they've done for you, who they are, if you're blood related to them, if they raised you. If you get no joy whatsoever out of being with them, and on the contrary feel really, really bad after being with them, well, then you should stop, because you have to look out for yourself. Another method I'm a fan of that I usually do before taking any of these steps is to give people feedbacks / also warnings sometimes on their communication style and the things they say. There are actually people in my life who I never thought would ever listen to me if I said anything. I didn't think they cared. I thought they were being hurtful on purpose, but once I actually said like, hey, when you say that, it makes me feel like this, or I just can't be around you when you're like this because of XYZ. Some of those people have actually, which I wouldn't have expected, taken it to heart. So I think we always need to give people a chance, because a lot of people are being hurtful or harmful without knowing. And it's actually an amazing feeling when you find out that someone you love, that you thought were being cruel on purpose, actually wasn't, and that they are willing to change for you. I had this experience last Christmas with someone I love in my family who I've had a lot of problems with, let's say for the last 10 years, and that I honestly thought was just like beyond repair, and I didn't even try, and actually just said something to that person, and that person came and had a conversation with me, and I was like, yeah, I feel this way about that, I feel this way about that, and this and that, and they didn't know. And that person was like, I am honestly gonna change, and they have. And obviously it takes time for people to change, but whenever I say something, they take that to heart as well. And so it's a continuous process of change, and it's amazing to see. It makes me feel like I've gotten a family member back, because I have. And that was a relationship that was so important to me growing up. So I'm super, super happy about that. And because of that, I do urge everyone to try. If you've never vocalized how you felt, or if it's been a long time, just give it one more chance. And I did say /warnings because I've also been at points where I've been like, hey, if you bring up one more thing about immigrants or whatever, don't talk to me, like I'm done. I don't want to hear it. Or if you keep talking about like my body, etc. Like there are certain situations that require a conversation, like, hey, this makes me feel XYZ. And then there are certain points you're like, hey, you know what? This has been going on for 15 years. If you don't stop, don't call me. And I think especially like when you have kids in the family or pets and stuff like that too, like having my dog and bringing her with me made me realize like what situations that I was in that were toxic, because I'd been in situations that I was like, oh my god, I don't want my dog here. And then I thought to myself like, oh, if I don't want my dog here, why am I here? I don't want to feel this way either. I don't want to be in a dangerous situation where I don't want my dog to be. Like if she shouldn't be here, I shouldn't be here. Especially if you're protecting someone else, you should absolutely give warnings. Because especially if you have kids, you don't want them to grow up the same way you did with the same problems you have. Usually we want every generation to do better, and the same if you have younger siblings, you know, but also for yourself. Another thing that disrupts our peace that I've talked about many times, because it disrupts my peace a lot as well. I think everyone knows that. I'm legitimately a little bit of an agoraphobe when I'm in my hometown because of this, and I've had some Instagram anxiety over it as well, is that we think that they are judging us. And I think we lose a lot of joy based on thinking that people are judging us or perceiving ourselves to be judged when we're not even being judged. Fortunately or unfortunately, however you want to spin it, we are not the center of everyone's universe. Everyone is not positively or negatively thinking about us all the time, or rewatching our Instagram stories, or like gossiping about us because they saw us at the mall. Like people live their own life. And not only that with specific judgments, but I've said this before, with perceived judgment of they are judging me. Who are they? I keep saying this, who are they? Because I do honestly believe that if you break down the days to individuals, there's no individual we're actually so scared of judging us. Like, I don't want everyone I went to high school with to look at my Instagram and be like, oh my god, Zay Robertson is such a loser. I didn't care when I was in high school, so I don't know why I care now, but it's a feeling I have. But then when I look at the individuals, I'm like, none of those individuals are scary. Most of them are actually super nice, and I genuinely like them. So why would they sit around and judge me when I actually think we have an okay relationship or no relationship at all, depending on the person? It's so strange. So I would say absolutely break down the days, because usually it's not anyone you're actually so afraid of judging you. Besides, if you think that people think you're cringe, everyone's cringe, you know? You can do this as well with individuals and like try to think like, oh, are they the coolest person in the world? I don't know, not in a derogatory way, but in a way where like none of us are actually that cool. We're all just trying, and we're all just doing whatever we like. Even celebrities are cringe, and you know, being cringe is also part of becoming a celebrity. That's another discussion, but like no one's perfect, so you don't have to be perfect. No one's looking to you and expecting you to be perfect. Like, wow, I can't believe she didn't look like a supermodel at the grocery store. Nobody cares. We're literally just living our lives. If anyone is feeling any weirdness in a situation, most likely they're judging themselves. We judge ourselves a lot more than we judge other people. So if you meet someone at the mall, they're probably not thinking about your hair, they're probably thinking about their own hair. So try to live your life without perceived judgment. Judgment is hard enough. We don't have to like make up more judgment to make ourselves feel bad about ourselves, you know? That's just creating problems. This is something I've been practicing practicing for like, I will say 10 years. Okay, not 10 years, probably like 7 years, because I refused to do this when I was younger, but now it's so important to me, and I'm probably going to be practicing for the rest of my life. Choose your battles. Sort of like I said with the whole Charlie Brown thing, some people are not worth listening to, which also means they're not worth fighting with. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes they say things you're like, please, don't ever say that again. I'm sorry, that's too far. But a lot of the times, just let people talk, because if you don't even want to listen to them, no one else is probably listening to them, to be honest. Like, yes, words are harmful, absolutely, and that's why I've struggled so much with this concept, but a lot of words go unnoticed, honestly. And if someone is a little bit crazy and they keep saying crazy things, the only people who are going to listen to them are other crazy people. And yes, they might make each other crazier, but it's not your responsibility. Even if it is harmful, not everything is in your responsibility. Every battle is in your battle, and choose your battles. If something is being said to someone, if someone is being harmed, absolutely step in. And yes, nurture your integrity, of course, and you shouldn't be silent at the cost of your integrity, because integrity is number one, and you know when you really have to step in. But if someone is basically speaking to a wall, just let them talk, because it's not worth your sanity, your mental health. It's not worth you being in all these discussions. Standing up for others, protecting others is super important, but you also have to protect yourself, and part of protecting yourself is protecting your peace. And you can absolutely do what I oftentimes do, which is just leave the room, leave the situation, leave the party, hang up the phone, whatever. Like, you don't have to engage, and you don't have to pretend like it's fine if it's not fine, but you can just leave. And silence is an answer. Silence is a huge answer. I have left many situations and I've never regretted it. I've never been like, oh, I wish I stayed and argued with my aunts about Muslims. I do not. I am very glad that I have left situations and just gone to hang out with my friends or my boyfriend at the time or whatever, you know, instead of sitting there nurturing that negative energy and being in a conversation that's going nowhere, just being like, oh, well, this is not for me. This is not the place I want to be. I'm sorry. If y'all want to sit here and fearmonger, you do that, but I don't have to listen to it. In a very similar vein, I will say that when something is like offensive and bad, but it's not personal and is also not imminent, like for example, if you just see a post on Facebook, just learn to move on. Learn to move on, learn to not get your emotions riled up, because there's so many things, so many horrible things, honestly. Okay, there are many horrible things, especially online, that you see, but if you let all of them bother you, that's just a lot of your time, your energy, and your emotions that is being wasted on something that is just not worth your time, and it's better not to feed it. Sometimes we engage, of course, but a lot of times just move on and think this does not represent the world, because the internet loves negative comments, and people love negative comments too, because misery loves company. But if you don't feed that flame, eventually it'll die down if no one cares anymore. So be a part of the people who just don't give it time and energy so that it can honestly go away. There's a lot of hatred right now that is like super popular, but if people ignore it, it won't be anymore. It's from the genuine feeling that people want attention. It's not from the feeling of, oh, I really feel this and that very strongly politically. Mostly it's a cry for help and attention. Just ignore it and they'll find a healthier way to seek attention, hopefully. If not, it's not your problem. So please, this season, take care of yourself and notice your feelings and listen to them. Again, if you wouldn't have your pet or your friend or your brother or your sister or your mom in a situation, you don't have to stay in that situation either. Treat yourself like someone you love and protect yourself. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have an amazing holiday season, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye.